Welcome back. We're pushing into a game 2 between Liquid and TSM. And just moments ago, TSM continued their dominant week 1, grabbing every advantage on their way to what was a clear victory we just saw.
Oh yeah, they were pressuring in every lane. It was actually quite remarkable to watch. And that pushed Liquid to the brink. So Liquid are now making adjustments. They will sub in Dardoch for game 2 because he was suspended by Team Liquid, not by league ruling. And the question is, will this change Liquid's fortunes? Because that seems a little bit like desperation there if they're subbing him in, even though they had suspended him.
And we think we spoke a little about it before and only needed to poke it once, is Matt and Dardoch came up from Academy as 2 very big voices that helped Team Liquid in the spring split. So that could be the possibility that re-enters here now in the summer.
Exactly. He's the complete opposite of Moon as well. Moon, not that great in the early game statistically in the spring. Worst early game jungler in the first 15 minutes. And Dardoch was the best out of all junglers in the spring split. Getting Rookie of the Split as well.
Yeah.
He was like kill leader for junglers, like higher than Reignover in that, higher in the early presence. So he is an absolute god in the jungle. And the question is it just going to be plug and play? Is he just going to come back into the roster and it's going to be really smooth? What's the transition going to be like? Because he seems really comfortable right now.
I think, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. He seems comfortable. He's a player that doesn't seem like anything will be tempered. He is a person that knows that he has that flair, and he promotes that flair in his play. So it's always amazing to watch somebody like him get onto the Rift. And now the heroes for TSM that game. Obviously, the analyst has talked about it, but Hanser being player of the game. Really, the solo lanes, Bjergsen has to be mentioned as well. Their damage was off the charts.
Oh, yeah. But actually, Hanser still did more damage than Bjergsen. Bjergsen on Rise was out-damaged by the top lane tank Echo, but of course he is still, he's smacking away at a Maokai the entire game.
Okay.
So he does have a little bit more opportunity there. But yes, they're playing like a team, and it's actually working out incredibly well for TSM. They're no longer just team solo mid. They're pretty much just team. They're all doing a great job right now.
Very strong so far. Earlier, we heard Doublelift's thoughts on Liquid. And before we jump into the Rift, let's see his lane partner talk about the bot lane matchup.
I think Team Liquid is pretty good. They have pretty solid players, especially their bot lane. I think Piglet and Matt is probably one of the strongest bot lanes in North America right now. And playing against them will be a lot of fun and will be very challenging as well.
Yep, got to get those TPs from your other laners, help you out a little bit. But yes, they actually did have the push advantage early. They pushed them all the way to the turret, so Piglet and Matt were underneath it. And there was a CS advantage for him, but then it got pushed all the way back, got equalized, and Matt and Piglet came back.
Yeah, at one point, Piglet said, no. I'm going to come in and attack you. And that's the way an aggressive Lucian plays when he knows he has an opening, a chance, whether it was in between the ebb and flow heal or the attack, and he just went in.
And what I'm looking for here is just the distinct difference between Moon and Dardoch and the effect on this bot lane. We saw Moon come bottom, and his ganks were a little hesitant. His ganks were where he'd come up a couple seconds too early, and he'd be like, okay, I'm waiting here for 4 seconds, waiting for the wave to push in. Dardoch is usually, all right, I'm coming up, I'm going. I'm tanking turret, I'm diving, etc. Him and Matt have that synergy.
Be here with me now.
Exactly, where they trade off turret aggro. Matt usually takes it first, dips out, then Dardoch takes it, finishes the kill, and that's why he was the kill leader for junglers for the entire split last split.
Wouldn't be surprised if we saw some type of Bard Rek'Sai game here from Liquid to set up and lock some people down for some long-range fights. Liquid has always been a good team at scrapping, kind of skirmishing fights out, finding a way to lose from behind. But it was a little too much from TSM last game. We'll see what they do coming into game 2 here. Liquid still goes for the double support ban, feeling that Biofrost does still bring too much to the table in that lane, and mostly with those initiations and continuous fight poke. Nidalee Rise on the other side. Bjergsen does not want to see that in the hands of Phoenix. We'll see what they decide to ban for the last ones. Liquid has 7 seconds left.
Yeah, because they're banning out Braum, which is not a typical ban here, they're leaving a lot on the table once again. Zyra, Kindred, Echo, Vladimir, Swain are now still on the table, but nobody really showing an affinity towards them in this matchup. So you can't really leave Kindred up here. It's going to get first picked away by TL. So yeah.
Is it going to be? The Maokai was hovered. And the Maokai is pretty much going to go to that top lane. Bjergsen and Hanser kind of seemingly picking things that'll be flex. TSM still trying to keep the unknown involved in Champion Select, but now into Game 2. Team Liquid has first pick, and they're trying to figure out what they would actually want in this game. Maokai's still there for the pick. They're just kind of wondering if they could get anything else that would be better priority. It is not.
Still picking the Maokai early, but with the Echo off the table, it does make it a little bit of a better pick here. But we saw that Hanser, he's willing to play some of these aggressive top laners, and if they pick up the Lucian and get the Black Cleaver build, it kind of becomes paper for that Maokai.
That was TL's pickup last time, Maokai Lucian. Now it's just going to be the Maokai, so Lucian goes over to Team Solo mid. Jungler could be Rek'Sai. Dardoch definitely had a good Rek'Sai. It allows him to keep going aggressive, keep being that nuisance. He loves to be up in his opponent's face. I think that might just be the switch here. It'll be interesting to see them go with Gragas. Like we said, there's actually a lot up here. TSM has the choice. There's the Rek'Sai.
Yep, not to be unexpected. Leaving that up is pretty much a death sentence, but Dardoch has shown that he is willing to play things like Graves. Kha'Zix, maybe. Maybe we see the Kha'Zix. It's not completely out of the question, but Vladimir up. No Phoenix plays that. Azir up for Phoenix, by the way. Did not pick it last game because it was banned away by TSM. Now it's up. And you have to think TSM left it up because they have counter pick. Is it going to be a Zed into it? Would they pick Fizz into it? So TSM wouldn't leave it up without a plan against it, but they did have to ban these two junglers and Ryze.
Dardoch wants something he can kind of make plays on here. He may say, you know what? Let's see more of the team. That was a retype by Dardoch. He typed in that Amumu, but it's going to be back to the Nami. They lock it in with the Victor. And they're going to hold those two, so Dardoch kind of wants to see more of the spread from TSM before he chooses.
It's a dark age when TL is down one game, Azir is up, and they don't pick it.
That's
very early on. Means they're a little bit scared here, and Victor has a lot of power. Victor and Azir are the two most played mid laners right now globally, and then Ryze, of course, I would say played, but he's banned all the time. So these guys actually see a lot of play. Victor picked up for Phoenix. Would actually be interested to see what Bjergsen takes if he goes with the Assassin pick, if he goes with actually answering that with an Azir and his own wave clear. We could see that.
They've kind of taken away the sure initiation this time with Team Solo Mid. They don't have the Sivir. Now they don't have the Nami for tidal wave, and TSM's figuring out what do we want. It's probably the Azir for Bjergsen. TSM the one to ban that last game.
Alistar?
And you were saying it's interesting.
Or
it wasn't picked up.
Bard?
Your Bard's still there.
Okay,
We're thinking it could be an option. So Biofrost is actually showing, besides the Karma, quite a bit here.
Yeah, they're making him dig deep. They took away 3 support champions from the pool of Biofrost, and he just goes to the next top-tier ranged support because he wants to bully. That's the big priority here for TSM, is to just try and destroy that bottom lane with as many advantages as you can early on.
So Piglet and Dardoch. Usually Piglet as well, getting one of the last picks. Dardoch will have one in jungler for himself as well. Just talked a little bit about how Matt was that kind of one voice left that they brought up from TL. So now Dardoch being subbed back in could mean big things for Liquid here. If they feel confident. Maybe some of the cleanest non-import Lee Sin. Is that what we're getting at?
They imported him from the bench.
Oh, it is!
It is!
Oh, the cleanest non-import Lee Sin is going to represent here. Self-stated from Dardoch.
I actually don't know, because he's been super clean. He may be able to just say cleanest Lee Sin right now in the NALCS.
That's true. That's true.
Rush is the person who gave him his run for his money, but it's Meteos now on Cloud9, Rush on the bench.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Rush and Challenger.
Thresh Bard? I'd love it. Let's do it. Supports everywhere.
I would say there's actually a decent amount up here. You could go with a Fizz top and play it into Maokai. Fizz is a very potent top lane champion. You can run many different masteries on him. Actually seeing a low amount of Fizz lately.
Saw
but
a bit
it
of
could
Fiora
be a
recently.
standard.
Swain has been left up. How
go.
did the Pain Train actually get through bans without being noticed? We didn't even see him first game.
Yeah, we didn't see him first game. Picked through banned, I believe.
Not even. Whew. Well then. See what they have for each other. Haunter's going to be on the Swain. It won't make Lorlo's life the easiest. If he's getting ganked, it'll be very, very hard. Rek'Sai for Svenskeren. Dardoch you're going to pick Lee Sin, you're going to be looking to make plays, and that's what I'm sure the fans and everybody else seeing Dardoch come back was hoping for coming into this second matchup.
Oh, yeah. Looking for those kickbacks, looking for those plays. This bottom lane, though, from TL, Nami, Ezreal, that is a bottom lane that wants to poke you out, it wants to sustain, and it wants to basically get an advantage and compensate for the fact that Ezreal has to get tier early.
Yep.
So the first few backs are actually crucial to the momentum of that bottom wave. So if they actually miss out on a wave, they miss out on 2 waves, if they get chunked out, or if he actually gets to back for free and get that tier, no problem.
I actually thought we'd be seeing more Vlad from Phoenix, some of those types of plays to kind of get in and make the high quantity kill plays, and then an Ezreal to back that up.
It just seems
Well,
like
the Ezreal.
it seems like a
With the
team
Victor.
thing. It seems like a scrim block where somebody was like, Vladimir is destroying everybody. Let's not let this happen. And then in series, people are like, oh my god, that guy's playing Vladimir, and it's just, I got to first pick it away. So that seems to be what's happening right now.
All right, so remember to keep up with the series on Twitter. As always, update your predictions with the hashtag TSM win or the hashtag TL win. Dardoch subbed in for game 2. We're about to be back on the Rift. Team Solo Mid looking to go undefeated in their matches here with 2 2-0s if they're able to win this matchup. We'll see what they can do as we're about to be onto the Rift. Liquid now. Blue, TSM on the red side, and we are out of the gates and onto the Rift.
And with Dardoch on the Rift, TL, how do they look? Are they going to be completely revitalized? What plays is he going to be able to make in the early game? My eyes are completely on this rookie of the split from Spring to change this around.
So many things to watch now. We have kind of the rollover featured match in the bot lane. Dardoch's now back in. This is great. Haunter getting more player of the game, I should say. We'll see if he has another fantastic performance. And TSM solo lanes, last game to recap, really wreaking havoc. Double Lift and Biofrost fell behind a little bit.
Oh my god.
But it was really never anything Liquid could capitalize on. Now into game 2. Everything to start off. Looks like we're going to get our 2v2 though.
You stay in there long enough, you dodge enough skill shots, they have to put down the ward. Yeah, there you go. Oh, it's that or you face check it, assuming that they backed, and then you die. Oh.
That happened the
Good
first
choice.
few times in the first few days. Heading back to lane, teams are trying to get either that little bit of experience, obviously to hit 2, or find that bit of damage by hiding in the tri-brush we've seen. I mean, I guess you can do all those little things with the best of 3. Be like, let's kind of test the waters here.
Yeah.
Let's test the waters here, see how they react. Really learn a lot in the beginning of the season here.
So what I'm really loving about this whole patch in general is just the number of lane swaps that we're seeing, even in NA, has gone down. A lot of people are testing their metal in 2-on-2s. They're saying we have these range supports, so you aren't picking people into bad matches, being like, oh, well, I have Trundle versus Bard. I'm going to go lane swap, right? We're not seeing that. We're seeing, okay, well, I think my champion's better than yours, our 2-on-2. We can survive it. We don't want to swap on that top lane because Swain might be able to get some CS and be fine. Yep. So I'm loving that people are testing their metal. Also, the whole jungle experience thing, so top laners don't get level 2.
Yeah. As well as the AD carries and whatnot, not grabbing as much, and they fight for that level 2 even more to get to lane. We saw it equal out there. Pretty good laser, but Soldier attack right back at him. Looks like Bjergsen and Phoenix, obviously knowing that matchup very well, will probably just trade a bit of health and then continue to farm the next few waves. Dardoch, no unusual path for him. There is a ping towards the mid lane, saying that Bjergsen's wave is pushed up and this may be an opportunity after your Raptors.
Yeah, there was a camp that was started level 1 by TSM.
And then Krug's over by Liquid.
Yep, Krugs. So Dardoch actually went from Romp all the way over to Red to do that, just to pick up that buff, and walk all the way back to go do his Raptors now. And then his Wolves. So his route, a little all over the place because you don't need...
So he did switch it up, yeah.
So basically what you need to do, what he's doing is, I need to give my bottom lane Krugs, because if the enemy does Gromp, our bottom lane's at a disadvantage in terms of experience, and they'll just get destroyed. But I can't start blue buff. I'd rather have red. So that's his thought process behind it. Comes back up, loops back up, maybe ganks top, and that's his route. Completely planned.
Is he a super nice guy and he gives this over to Phoenix?
No, because Lee Sin
I'm
still
just
makes
kidding.
use of it with energy.
Oh, of course. Especially Dardoch wanting to come in and make the plays. He'll take the experience as well.
Yeah, some people go and actually take the normal route, like this, where they go Gromp blue. and then they get red so that they have red longer for their gank time.
Right.
He's been ticking the red away right now, and it hasn't been useful at all.
Looking for a bit of a stronger clear. Will seem to float up top here. Gonna trigger a ward if he decides to go around. Scuttle control will be the idea for Dardoch, and the bot lane still going at it.
Dardoch on the move. Is it going to be Bjergsen? Is it going to be... Oh. Looks like he's chosen.
He's taking the long way around. Very nicely done. He
Why
said,
not gank for the Maokai?
It was
Point
a question
and click
in
route.
lane. We thought it was going to be the gank for the Swain in the end. He's going to connect with the Sonic Wave. Resonating Strike goes in. Never move. Just on the outside of catching Dardoch, and Haunter out of mana on that one. Is forced to flash away.
Yep, still forces the flash early. Warlow has to use his, though, to close that distance. It's been scaring.
He's good. Alright, yeah, I actually didn't know as well. I was like, wait a minute, actually.
He was saying the same thing as you.
He didn't get as much health back when he burrowed as I thought.
Yeah, it takes her a long time.
Yeah.
It's a lot when you have that 100, but it ticks down, so it's very, very incremental.
So Haunter still has TP, so he's not too bad off in the top lane. Svenskeren will come back out nice and healthy. Swiftness boots for him right off the bat for his Rek'Sai.
Yeah, and that's a completely just different style than what you see Dardoch going for the long swords, wants the damage, wants to be able to kill somebody, and then snowball from there. And he always goes things like cooldown reduction boots so he can make plays more often, have the lower cooldown on flash. So I expect to see those fairly early on.
It's one of those things in the early part of the game where you're like, yeah, cooldown's all right, and then somebody just says it, and they're like, cooldown actually means more spells, which means more damage, and you're like, oh my god.
They're damage boots!
The things you learn in your first few months.
That pink ward.
Oh,
Huh.
he got bopped by Svenskeren real quick there by Prey Seeker. So he's going to be out. Svenskeren setting up tunnels all over the place on that bottom side.
Yeah, and you expect there to be a lot of action in this bottom side because there isn't double TP. There's only one TP, both the top laners, and it's an Infernal Drake. So whoever gets to win the bottom lane and you win that fight healthy enough, you just take this dragon. That's going to boost your combat stats. You're basically taking kills, and then those kills are like, here's some extra gold.
Yeah.
You got 300 for that? Here's some more.
This is for you. Oh. Looks like it was more farm. Phoenix actually queued a minion there. He used a Q, but used the auto attack on a minion. Didn't get the extra damage out. Really just looking to push Bjergsen off mid lane. He doesn't have the mana to do too much more.
Svenskeren off on the side, looking for it. Bjergsen does have the mana to make a play.
Ghost Flash. This is going to be tricky if they can actually get it. There's the flash. Oh, no! Oh, it's going to be tricky to run. The pathing may just be
so
the
fast.
death of Phoenix. And he can't decide where to go. He hits the carpool lane. It may be quick enough. There's
the
the swipe.
heal.
There's the swipe.
The heal.
Yep. Summoner heal on Bjergsen was just used. Good eye. He kept him in range.
Oh, man. Lot used there to actually get up to him, but it's 2 summoner spells for 2 summoner spells. And the kill, and that's an advantage for Bjergsen. They were able to actually force Phoenix from pretty much 1/4 of the lane down, right into Svenskeren's hands.
Phoenix thought he would just be over the wall a little bit more there.
Yeah, he should know the potential of Phoenix, of Seer, more than anybody. I said Phoenix is so used to it. Doesn't get the knockup, though, so.
And he's forced back. Great tunnel by Svenskeren.
Maybe could have actually gotten him earlier, but yeah, ends up picking him up there. So Svenskeren had moved. I don't think he expected the wall to actually be that good because he moved forward and he obviously didn't attack move. Because if you attack move as Rek'Sai, as soon as you are able to knock the person up, you will. Which is a lot of fun when somebody plays Katarina and you attack move on them. They shumpo you and you knock up even before you realize that you've done it. It's like, oh my god!
Thanks, Riot. For that.
A lot of people, a lot of Katarinas have been like, what? How are you that fast?
Magic.
You know.
That's what you tell him.
You know.
You know. OG Rek'Sai. 12.5 to 11.2 now. TSM still have a bit of momentum from game 1. Things happening a bit slower in this game for the side of Liquid. Dardoch trying to get into the jungle, not finding too much in his excursions. Got the flash out of Haunter top, but haven't actually been able to go back and punish that again. 5 minutes passed, it's back up.
Yeah. Actually, looks like Dardoch didn't go for the cooldown reduction boots either. That was always his style. Gragas, Lee Sin, cooldown reduction boots, or flash, for his body slam flash, or his flash kickback. But Swifties apparently are king right now. He needs to get around the map. He needs to try to make plays and keep up with FLICKR. Especially since FLICKR is just all about farming the enemy jungle and getting them incrementally behind. Yeah, he didn't make anything happen in that top lane. He's coming back up now, but it's too late. It's too late. You missed your 5-minute window.
55 to 58. Lorlo actually faring a little bit better.
So Dardoch showed top. Bjergsen shoves mid, goes immediately towards the bottom lane. 4 people in the bottom lane. Svenskeren coming up. They're going to have to TP into this if they want any chance. But so is Hanser. It's going to be a 3-on-5.
TP from the back, TP on the turret as well. He's going to come through. Lorlo throws down the Maelstrom. Whoa! Team Liquid is melting, but on the other side, the turret was hitting, and so was TSM.
Oh, Bjergsen!
Liquid able to put a few more hits back onto TSM. Bjergsen very low here, and this could be Phoenix catching up. His Ghost is back up, and they're able to capitalize on that kill. Very nicely done. 3-3 as it goes back and forth and kills 3-2.
Biofrost hit the turret and both members of the bottom lane of TL. It bought enough time for Phoenix to start getting down there, and also Dardoch, who had those Swifties, able to show up at the tail end of the fight, and really well played there by Lorlo. Lorlo went on the person who had turret aggro, roots them, ends up doing enough damage to Biofrost as well, so he gets picked up by the turret at the end. That right there buys enough time. Gets the knockup, but then tries to reposition, and look at this, Lorlo onto double lift, takes him out, flashes, follows up, gets the double kill, so they trade 2 for 2 there, and then Dardoch got the kickback, got the ultimate out of Bjergsen, puts the W on the ward that's already been there to get himself just a little bit closer, because he doesn't have his smite yet, he doesn't have extra wards in his inventory.
Nicely done by Piglet as well to get the ultimate off just before he went down. The True Shot Barrage really helped that fight turn around for Team Liquid.
Yeah, 3 for 2 in favor of Liquid, but this gold advantage is still in favor of TSM.
Ooh.
And Dardoch coming up, though. Lorlo trying to get in position for it.
Saying have a present. He's tanking the turret really before they had the lockdown, which means he's going to be tanking a lot more before they kill Hanser at this point. They decide to back off, rightly so. And they know it's kind of taking a little too long. There's probably some extra bodies here. And Svenskeren is just on the wing.
Look at just the way that Dardoch moves in the jungle, or moves when he's ganking. But hold on. Oh, that's a lot of damage, but oh, True Shot!
He walked into it. It's like, oh, bubbles.
Oh, bubbles.
All right.
Ooh, sometimes you can't resist bubbles.
You were saying, though,
Yeah,
the way
anyway.
Dardoch moves.
Well, the way Dardoch moves around the jungle, you can see he has full confidence in his ganks. And speaking of confidence,
there it is. Phoenix with the flash this time. Remember, he just used Ghost in the bot lane. Dardoch
he hit
with the kick. Going on to Bjergsen, locks that one down. Not sure if he actually hit the Q or that was a minion, but he still finalizes the kill. It's trying to be the Prey Seeker, but it's the flash entry from Svenskeren as he gives himself away in. And Dardoch can't choose to fight that. Neither of them would really go down here unless he hits a nice Q. Fakes him out.
It's the ceremonial, I'm the mid laner now as a jungler. You actually celebrate every time this happens. Your mid laner dies, both mid laners die. You don't actually go, oh man, that's like, yes.
And this is when a million pings hit mid lane to say, don't farm that.
But
let's do this
Phoenix.
again.
Look at that. He actually completes the cast of the Emperor's Divide before he's even in contact with Phoenix, because it emanates from behind you. And that kick hits Bjergsen. Then Skaren gets a little bit on the other side, and that actually did a lot of damage to Bjergsen because it actually uses the HP of the person you kicked as bonus damage. So then Skaren with the Bomby Cinder and the Sightstone ended up hurting his team a little bit more.
Setting his teammate on fire. That's not very nice. 13 on the clock. Quite a bit of action here from both teams regarding this first game.
Yeah.
About 20,000 gold, only a 500 lead for TSM, so much more stable here in the early game for Team Liquid. They're able to keep these lanes pushed up, and a bit of an advantage in the bot lane. I'd say it's even with CS, assists, and a few kills to either side.
Yeah, a lot of summoner spells down, though, so junglers, this is the time to make your move. Doublelift is the only person on the map who has flash at this moment. So go anywhere but Doublelift's lane. But you could go to Doublelift's lane and try to force it down because the turret's all the way pushed up. Yeah, here he comes. Dardoch straight to the bot lane. just going to try to muscle down this turret. I don't expect there to be a fancy play just yet.
Tempered Fate is there, but you're right. I don't see Svenskeren being close enough for them to actually want to stall this out.
He wants to be, though.
It actually may work out. Svenskeren is trailing down. So is Bjergsen at this point. That one wave clear here by the culling definitely gave them room to do so. So they do decide to hold that off. Infernal Dragon is on the docket right now, but so is that bottom turret. I'm pretty sure they'd love to take that down. They haven't really broken any structures on either side of the map here in 15 minutes in. 14.
Yeah.
Want to be critical.
You round it up, you know?
Heavily.
It's the right answer without going over.
There you go.
But it's going to be Biofrost zoning out. And yeah, this area has been completely warded up by TSM, so they're going to have priority onto this Drake. And TP from Lorlo could come through. There it is.
He's
right
almost,
into everybody.
He was forced to go in once he realized he made a bit of an error with the distance between himself and his team. They weren't able to close the gap, but they may still go in for damage. The resulting fight, if not too many ultimates are used, could mean Dragon, but that is Chaos Storm. That is the tidal wave down, and there goes Bjergsen. Double Sonya's looking good, gentlemen. The bubble hits 2! Coming in from Matt. It's not enough to turn it around, though. Haunter had already made it past that point, and Birdman is just crushing down. He is using the Swain to a nice effect right now. Just on the side of the bubble, Matt gets hit, but the Never Move connects before he goes down. Torment not enough to kill Matt. He lives as well with a bit of ebb and flow between himself and a teammate. And overall, quite a bloody fight, but only a few fall.
Yeah, it's only 2 for 2. It goes completely even there. No, oh, wait, speaking of even, not going to happen.
Out of energy. That would have been a lot of auto
even.
attacks. Beatrice giving the help there. A little bit of slow. It looks like everybody's kind of backed off for now. Dardoch looking for some window shoppers.
Ulti.
Piglet, Eagle Eyes. Not going to be enough.
Ooh.
He is pretty big. Haunter has gotten himself.
These are still pretty dangerous places to back. I know he has
Quite
wards
large.
there.
They're pushing themselves to the limits in these fights.
Yeah, Drake
Much more
still
confident for
up,
Team Liquid here.
I expect TL to actually go for this Drake.
Let's see how this goes overall. So you can see
this. Dardoch walked up, walked back. Dardoch went for the ward instead of going towards Lorlo's position where he's TPing in. So, little missed out there, and you can see the TP actually was canceled by Haunter. So Haunter has to walk all the way here. Phoenix gets Shreema shuffled on, but he doesn't go over the wall. The Bard saves him by hitting him at the right time. So Biofrost has actually made 2 plays by TSM kind of moot.
Yeah.
Because he ultied the bottom turret, he just ultied Phoenix, and it ended up not helping. It ended up allowing TL to buy time, to put themselves in a position to time the bubble, to allow themselves to be even in kills at this point. Otherwise, TSM would be up about 2 or 3.
Countering the counter plays. Whole new world. 6-6 in the end of all that back and forth. It was just 4-4 when I was saying a much more bloody game, and then they all went down bot and fought. So you can see only a few minutes later, right back at it. Infernal Drake grabbed up now by Liquid. Much more control on the map. Like I said, much more sturdy in their strategy as well, figuring out what TSM is doing and adapting much faster. Towards even the mid game, we saw Liquid kind of trailing on TSM, going to a side lane. They'd be right on their heels and a few steps behind. Here, a much different story. TSM able to drop now bottom turret, as it looks like Liquid is going to trade this for top. The majority of their members head that way. Phoenix being called back to mid, though.
Called back to mid, red buff up, so Dardoch gonna head over there. But yeah, they weren't able to shove out Haunter. Haunter just throws down Beatrice, uses his ultimate and clears the wave. So he can stand here and make sure it doesn't actually make contact with his turret. And that ends up giving the first turret of the game over to TSM.
Oh.
They didn't see them come over here. Not warded at all on the way there.
Oh, Ghostin flashes up. He thought he could just make it out. He actually flashes the Cosmic Binding he thought would hit the turret, but it was just out of range. A 1-for-1 on the Retribution kill going over to Biofrost for Phoenix, and looks like that disperses the fight right away. They get his summoners down right away. They're making sure that he can't move in these fights. They have a choice.
And they're doing everything that they can. Bjergsen is sliding in every time for Phoenix, making sure that he picks him up. And Svenskeren little far forward, and Oh, heads him off at the pass.
He's not taking a huge amount of damage. There we go. Once they start to pile on, Hanser coming in a little late there, but with the addition of Bjergsen, I think they're going to have enough on this one. It's going to be Biofrost in the base, so they can't actually go too far. They don't really have a full team. Just able to create so much pressure, kind of pushing Team Liquid around. They're still on the side to defend, however, and they're staving off a few kills that should actually be happening. So very nice for Team Liquid to keep those from going down and keeping themselves up to protect these turrets.
Yeah, and Svenskeren, he went in even though Bjergsen didn't have mid priority anymore. He was continuing to just be shoved out towards him. So Bjergsen was going to get there late. And then the way that Dardoch actually went around the pit cut off the retreat of Svenskeren, because Svenskeren wanted to get the red buff, sneak it, and then go over the wall of the dragon pit. But Dardoch was there, so he had to go up, and then Dardoch just ward hopped and cut him off. So really no options there after he had actually gone in and had been spotted by a ward. So too aggressive from Svenskeren. That's the second time in I guess 4 games now.
Yeah.
That exact spot has killed him. That exact play.
I mean, what was it? Watching another one in TSM's game, they had actually, Svenskeren was going bot, Bjergsen was doing Raptors.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. That's the other time.
Yeah. Becomes difficult.
Yeah. Well, you had to constantly communicate. I know that when you're actually in the flow and you've done it like 4 times that game,
Yep.
you don't say it the next time. You're just like, yeah, I mean, he should know that I'm going to go to the red because we've seen it up every time and we've done the same thing. And he doesn't do that because conditions are a little different. Maybe he's getting shoved in and it's not communicated, and then you still try to make the play happen and it doesn't work out.
Minute and 30 on Dragon. Going to start setting up some wards here. Also, be sure to not use those summoners. Phoenix trying to get his back up so he can be kind of more useful in these fights, able to run around the Emperor's Divide, run around where Hanser's going to put Never Move. There's a lot of things you actually have to dodge playing right now on the side of Team Liquid.
Well, going to walk right into Lorlo. Are they going to have the damage to take this out, though?
It's going to take a while. Dardoch does hit. Does he choose to go in on Hanser?
Phoenix!
He does. Phoenix gets blown up in the brush. The ward was there for TSM. The vision was not as they entered into that mid lane river fight. And now the hit on the other side, a Never Move to lock down the team and start to clean up the fight. Team Solo Mid coming through very big there and starting to separate what would be their gold lead now. Now 3,000 gold up and even more with this next turret.
And Biofrost with the over-the-shoulder Cosmic Binding, ending up hitting both members of the bottom lane of TL. Allows them to clean up at the end of that fight. That was really aggressive from TL. Phoenix, his position, didn't have vision on the right side of that wall near mid, so he ended up just going too far forward and walking into 2 members that could just obliterate him. A ping onto the Baron from both teams, actually.
See how this goes once more.
Here comes...
There's a question onto Lorlo. It's like, we kind of need to fight Lorlo. You fight the closest target, right?
Yeah.
Phoenix was in.
Phoenix.
Tempered Fate. Lockdown.
Walks up and then ends up getting destroyed. And that binding right there allows them to pick up 2 more kills.
Beautiful binding
Sorry,
and
one more
Never
kill.
Move. Yep. Phoenix is almost kind of giving himself, not more credit, but he's feeling more assured that he has Ghost, that he has Flash, that he can fly in and fly out. But he's actually been caught by Tempered Fate quite a few times with that.
He's 2-5. He is 5 of his team's 9 deaths. And so he has just been picked on this game.
Yeah, that's true.
They have assigned him as basically the walking bag of gold that they are going to keep punching over and over again. And he has to play scared.
At this point, usually you do. We see back in the day, or not back in the day, it still happens, but mid laners take that Ghost, they take that, you see it on the Twisted Fate, so they can wiggle around, get a new card out, get back into the fight, and then continue to be safe. But really, when you have that much aggression, when Bjergsen is actually able to get onto you that fast with Emperor's Divide, it hasn't been Phoenix's day, so to say.
Sven dropped something. I'm not sure what it is, but they're going to have to go figure it out. Not completely filled in just yet, but
put some tape on it.
Being actually very courteous,
Yes.
not letting his microphone cord headset cord.
He's a very courteous guy.
Hang on the people trying to help him.
I mean, junglers are courteous, right?
That's true. That's
As I
true. But we
built
always
you
get
up.
blamed. We always get blamed.
That's all right.
It's always our fault.
See, he's trying to change that. He's a trendsetter. They're also feeling
Oh,
quite...
he's being courteous because it's his fault.
That's true. That's true. Sorry, I stole your blue. I'll come back and do something. So we'll have this fixed up very shortly. Much help from Donald.
I still
Thank
want
you
to know
so
what it
much.
was.
Oh, we'll find out at some point. TSM smiles on their face here as they've waiting in this pause. Thumbs up from the
All
refs
right.
and thumbs up from FLICKR as he's saying, yeah, we're thumbs up right now. We just had a great fight. We're 23 minutes in. Just grabbed a dragon for themselves
Yeah,
as
4,000
well.
up. They're really, really starting to balloon right now. But
Yeah.
it's all this that picking on that mid lane. They're picking on it over and over again because they know that Hanser against Lorlo, well, the Swain Maokai matchup, he's naturally almost 40 CS up. And then the bottom lane, well, it's Poke. I don't know how I'm going to really get in on that too often. But this mid lane Victor, he has to rely on his summoner spells for mobility. And so they're picking on him every time. And Bjergsen's just engaging, sometimes sacrificing himself. That's why he has 3 deaths. But also Phoenix has been mispositioning in a lot of these fights.
Yep. TSM's really building together on these fights. You look how the kills have happened. 1, 3, and 8. So that 1 and 8, as Bjergsen has been involved in everything that's happened on the map right now for Team Solo Mid. Look at as well FLICKR. He has 8 of those plays to his name. So all of TSM kind of sharing in that wealth across the board. A little bit more than Liquid, even though they've all gotten their hands dirty this game. It's just been much more team effort in the instance it's happening and working out for TSM. Liquid now to the top lane. Looks like that turret is going to be the one that they want. The mid lane still up. Very hard to push in Bjergsen.
They're fighting over and over again bot side because
Whoa,
they don't want
whoa!
the TP to come through. And oh!
Flash for flash. Dardos couldn't get the kickoff in time, but they may have FLICKR. A tempered fate on 3 members from Biofrost shuts down the initiation from Liquid and now puts them down in the ground. Lorlo will be the next one. Biofrost trying to get on the other side of the minions to make sure you can make a wall stun or whatever stun is necessary to continue spoon-feeding his team some kills.
Biofrost is a god. That
Oh my
was
word.
a hard Q to stun Dardoch, then turns it around, throws down the tempered
Crazy.
base, and gets 3 members of TL for the reposition, and then they pick up the member that was not.
Not even over yet.
And that's the ace there. That's the clean ace for TSM as they pick up the Baron off of just these plays that are being made. Everybody's being incredibly aggressive, and they're all on the same page here. Watch this. This
Oh
is
my
so good.
word.
He goes in, double it flashes because he sees this coming. He
Double
knows
it
it's going to
so
happen. Bard stun, tempered fate on 3 members, and then they all gang up on Dardoch. They come through. Bleedy misses the follow-up there. He actually does get the stun onto Matt, I think, and then allows them to continue this chase.
Oh,
Just utilized every ability in Bard's kit pretty much flawlessly.
we wondered, right? We'll push him on to another support.
Yeah,
We'll push him. We'll take his Nami away this
He
game
banned
and
Braum.
push him on to another support.
Oh,
Really showing up well. TSM, rightfully so. Very happy about that pickup. And Hanser, the connecting, resonating strike. A few more kicks to cripple. And the next one
But your
to
base.
slow him down. Very nicely done. They take him. TSM now moving into the base. Liquid's been trying to make something work off the ball here, but they forgot about the goal. They forgot about the prize, and that's to protect your base so you can get to your enemies. Inhibitor goes down, and with Bjergsen and team able to quickly come up and do this once more, they'll be able to drop him fast.
yeah. That was actually really interesting because they walk up to the turret. Lorlo was chunked out, and Lorlo was by the inhibitor backing. At that point, it's faster to just walk. Walk back, and then just walk in with home guard. But expecting the
Would
rotation to
you
the bot
walk
side.
if you could teleport, Aiden?
Well, no, you're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
Exactly.
Even if it was like here to literally down the hall,
Your desk.
I would probably teleport.
Boom.
But if I could only do it once a day or once every, few hours.
All right, I see what you're saying now.
But of course, you can actually back at any time. That's right. So
26,
got me there.
2,600
You got
on the
me.
current Baron counter. Very nicely done by Team Solo Mid to control the lead. Once they were able to start to balloon that just before we saw FLICKR.
Another-
Put down a little pause to get himself quickly fixed up. And now a minute 50 left on to the next dragon, but it doesn't look like TSM really has eyes on that yet. The vision's already there. Eyes on the prize of the turret is next. And Piglet has just used a bit of the wave clear that might be necessary for this next turret. The Iceborne Gauntlet really isn't even slowing and deterring FLICKR either. TSM taking what they know they can take right now, and Liquid's kind of going to have to let that happen until they get to the base gates.
Yep, and this Baron's still on for a good while. Last 3 minutes and 30 seconds now. So normally it would be up in 15, but it is up for 45 more. I did the math.
Ooh.
Did all the math there.
Great work.
But yeah, it's going to be the 4-1 with FLICKR pushing down the mid lane because that has an open inhibitor. No turret there. And TSM, despite Dardoch being subbed in off the bench, being 2-1-4, having a great game, it's still not enough right now.
Yeah.
TSM looks so clean in the way that they're executing these fights. The early game may have been a little bit more rough for them, but they played appropriately around the pressure that Dardoch wanted to exert.
Definitely giving that respect. Understanding Dardoch back in the game, they couldn't kind of flaunt around and just run through Fog of War if they wanted to go for a gank. Much more concise in what they did. Lorlo gets pushed back. Double it very low. Gets the heal. Gets taken out by Matt's ebb and flow. Lorlo trying to mitigate damage on the back line here. Really protecting the team well with that Vengeful Maelstrom. And it's going to be a magical journey to safety as TSM kind of hit a brick wall on that entry, losing Double it very early. Good focus by the back line of Team Liquid.
They end up getting the pick onto Double Lift. They get him to stand in one position, which allows the Victor ultimate, which does more damage now because it was actually the bubble that hit him.
Right.
Does more damage in the pulses, but there's more time between the pulses, so they have to stand in one place for a very long time. See, Dardoch's gonna try this. Goes in, not clean enough.
Flashes out. He'll be all right. Gets his life.
Yep, that was just a Lee Sin play, not a clean Lee Sin play. Went in. Bjergsen's the one who ends up getting it. No smite actually used from FLICKR, so you can see that that was a desperate play there. Well played by Matt. Gets the bubble. They pick up Double Lift. Lorlo had tried to engage, and then the peel away, the never move, and then they're able to get away with Magical Journey. So TSM, minimal losses there, and something that could have gone very bad for them.
Currently looking to join Envy at the top of the list here.
Yeah.
2-0 on their matches for the first week of the LCS.
They'd
Envy
actually be a little bit above because you,
no loss, right? One loss
Yeah.
to that record.
it goes by head-to-head, and then it goes by that record.
Yep.
So,
Once we see that in the end.
yeah.
But still quite impressive. Definitely a team that will help to build elite players. And it looked like they could be a very, very promising middle of the pack top team.
Yeah,
Depending on what happens once they fight CLGs, TSMs.
Yeah, that's
things
true.
like that.
That's true. Exactly. I was about to say, Jury is still out on Team Envy.
Right.
Because of the strength of schedule of their opponents. But TL, we're getting a little bit better idea where they stand. And TSM, though, well, we need to see them play Immortals. We need to see what they can do there because that's going to be super hype. Right now, they've looked completely in control of both series that they've played. Not from start to finish, but when they get a lead, they are able to actually just grab that lead, take hold of it, and not let go. So that's what I really love about TSM is they don't let the game happen. They make the game happen.
Much less of this could go to 45 minutes. Bjergsen's on Rise, Bjergsen's on Azir. He'll kill 3 people in this fight, and then we'll take the next 4 turrets and have a big lead. Much more fluent throughout the game, as you were saying, of how TSM is getting these advantages and holding them. We see pretty much all the first 3 core items at this point built up into the game. 37 seconds on Baron could be the finishing touches TSM needs to get in, or at least the fight that Liquid would have to go for broke on and attempt to stop TSM, because it's either at that Baron or at the rest of their base.
Yeah, so it's time to take stock before that might happen, where you can see the build from Double Lift 3-item Power Spike looking for that Bloodthirster combine. He does have the gold to do it. Just needs to back before then, but he's not going to get the luxury to do so at the moment. Guardian Angel for Sven. It's going to be a gigantic nuisance because he's already hard to kill and he soaks so much of your damage. It's sometimes not even worth going on him. They don't have the armor penetration just yet to deal with him.
It's been very tough to have
on to
anything
Phoenix
happen to
again.
Dardoch. All summoners up again for Phoenix. He gets Tempered Fate over and over by Biofrost's aim. Biofrost flash forward as well as Ignite to securing all of these kills with the team. And Ultimate's still up for TSM here.
That might be
looking very promising as they head in. 40+ seconds on these death timers now, and the soldiers keeping Piglet at bay, keeping Dardoch running away here to keep himself alive. And that's the first Nexus turret going down. Svenskeren being a nuisance on the outside to keep Team Liquid members at bay.
Oh!
And even though it's not Bay Life anymore, they're still going strong. They're still going with smiles on their faces, and they're going on to the Nexus. TSM will be 2-0 in the first week of the NALCS Summer Split.
And it's not only just a 2-0, they haven't dropped a game
That's
yet.
true.
Riv.
4 straight games.
4 straight games. TSM last split start off incredibly rocky. Everybody's like, is this the right pickup? Is this the right move to bring all these new players in who haven't played with each other ever? Well, they brought in one new guy this split. They've had the time. They had the spring split to synergize.
Yep.
They had the time off from when MSI was happening, and they look fantastic. This is when you actually, as a player on this team, you go, you know what? Those tryouts, some people may have been like, why are they picking this guy up? Why are they picking up Biofrost when there's all these other free agents who may be imports, right? Well, Biofrost seems to be the fit for the team. Maybe he's not necessarily the greatest in the world or anything like that, but he is a great fit for this team, and you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody else because he played phenomenally well, not just for the team. That was a mechanical display on Bard. That was a fantastic game from him.
Absolutely ridiculous. You see the Bard, the Nami, the Karma.
Yeah, I don't think you throw the Braum ban at him anymore.
The Braum.
I think banning him, almost useless.
Definitely amazing. Somebody that, even if it's a molded position, he has fit into the team almost better than we've seen anybody. When Bjergsen came in, maybe that was another one, right? And you just see the fact that TSM goes for a non-star pick when they go in. It doesn't have to be somebody that has already done so much and has veteran status, and it's the one that works out for them.
NA talent, boys.
That's great. Good plug. Let's send it over now to Dash and the analysts for some conversations on that matchup. Actually, we're going to take a quick moment. I believe they're still capping the other game as well. I love the fact that we have so many games. We're not going to spoil it here. This is a spoiler-free zone. Do not worry about it.
Yeah, when you see our faces, you're just,
you can smile and be like, we're safe here. We're safe. But TSM coming out very strong again. Liquid definitely showing a little more strength with Dardoch. It seemed like it brought confidence to the team. Not taking anything away from Moon. That's still a composition and a team synergy that's building there. But you did see what Dardoch continued to bring to the table.
Yes, and this is actually very interesting because Phoenix had never been really exploited this much in the previous
That's
split.
a really good point.
Remember,
as well.
everybody is making plays on the side lane. He had the lowest kill participation by almost 20% plus last split because he was not with the rest of the team. It was a 4-man unit, and Phoenix just gets the farm mid lane. Now, everybody shows up there, tries to kill him like 4 times, and gets his summoner spells at least every time. So Phoenix, a lot of pressure there was something he didn't seem completely used to on the stage. So I think that that's something that other teams might look at and be like, okay, this may be where we need to target, because we've seen the synergy of Matt and Dardoch. He knows how to come to that bottom lane. Matt and Lorlo, he camps that lane all the time. They're good friends. Dardoch and Lorlo, right? Friends out of game. They also are able to camp that lane. They do all the time. Dardoch and Phoenix, probably the weakest synergy on that team.
That could be what happens because, like you said, Phoenix farmer. He's going to stay in the mid lane and farm that out. We would always see him having a high farm, and like you said, solo kills. The kill participation was high for him, but with the team, not so much. So you see him now kind of trying to do that in the mid lane, still doing things for himself. And I think he might be even kicking himself for the way he tried to play around those tempered fates, because with summoners up multiple times, he was considering, I can get out of this. I'm not going to respect that as much. And that cost him at least 3 of his deaths.
Yeah, I think that the way that Biofrost was playing was really, really good. It was just really fast, really loose, able to actually play in the middle of the fight. There were two tempered fates that were not very good. The one on the turret bottom that had got 3 people and allowed or 2 people and the turret and allowed that to actually buy time. And then the second one where he hit the one that Bjergsen was trying to knock Phoenix into the team, saved Phoenix for a little bit and allowed the counter kill to come through. So there's only 2 really big mishaps there. Otherwise, it was just really well played. And I think that playing through the mid that fast is something that teams are going to have to get used to, because it's not team solo mid, it's team everybody mid right now. They're all just coming to Bjergsen's lane. They're going to and Bjergsen's actually roaming too. So now you're seeing different types of pressure from TSM that you weren't before, and it's very aggressive. And I don't think there's any other team right now in the NALCS that plays like that, because most people play to side lanes. They don't play from, I'm at your tier 2 tower in mid, and I'm kicking you back, and I'm actually just going to kill you here with my mid laner who's walking through.
And it seems like confident aggression, not let's test this aggression. So they're much more behind it, and it seems to just be working for them.
Completely confident. It doesn't look like they have any hesitation at all.
Oh, so right now we are going to finally send it over to Dash and the analysts as they are ready for some conversations on that match.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. That's right. We had to get Bjergsen back here. Victorious Bjergsen, 2-0 over Team Liquid there for TSM. Starting off the season with 2 best-of-3 victories. How does that feel with the roster, coming in and starting off with such a strong showing?
Obviously, it feels really good. Also, because we're going in against 2 of the, really top teams. CLG and Team Liquid are both really respected and really good teams. So we knew that the first week was going to be a really hard week, and I'm happy we pulled out a 2-0.
So jumping right into the series, it seemed like a clash of 2 different styles where Team Liquid sent a lot of resources bot lane and you guys had a lot of plays like mid-focus. Was this something that just kind of happened throughout the series, or do you think this was like a game plan and you guys were preparing for the bot focus or anything like that?
We don't really practice particularly mid-favored, but it really just comes down to the matchups and what lanes are easiest for us to gank. In this matchup, if you get the Streamer Shuffle onto the Victor, he's very gankable. When we played against CLG, who he ended up going teleport, so that meant that he's very prone to getting dove or getting 4-man TSM ganked.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just really comes down to game by game, and a lot of these games we ended up playing through mid, but that's not the only way we can win.
All right, diving into this game more specifically in the way that it played out, I do want to talk about the fact that, Sven visiting that mid lane quite often, and we are noticing that, especially with the champions that you're playing in the mid, a lot of gank assists, a lot of dive assists as well. We noticed in game 1 against Liquid as well with the Rise, being able to just hit level 6, targeted turret dives, same thing with CLG. Talk to me a little bit about how Sven has been kind of unlocked by the fact that you can be more aggressive with the way that the mid champion pool is developing.
It really just comes down to us have been playing a lot more together now, so we kind of watch out for Sven. We make sure that he's farming as many camps as possible. We set up the wave so that he can be as farmed as possible while still making these plays happen for the team. So we're always looking out for him, looking out for camps that he can take in the enemy jungle, and it just ends up kind of, we're watching out for him, so he's watching out for us, and it brings a really good relationship between, the jungle and the laners.
All right, if we move ahead in the game, where it really broke open, 5-0 in the top lane, plus a Baron on the back end of that. We're going to have a replay, pull it up. Bjergsen, if you don't mind walking us through this as it happens.
Yeah, actually, I wasn't even a part of this play, but I was watching as I was walking the entire way. It pretty much just came down to them failing the engage with Lee Sin, and then Biofrost was playing amazing on Bard this whole game, and he was landing ult after Q. I didn't actually even see, but Haunter ends up hitting the Never move onto Ezreal, which pretty much seals the fight, and yeah, Team Liquid I think they felt like they were going to slowly get pressured in all lanes, so they wanted to make a team play using the Maokai and Lee Sin, but after you fail the engage, our comp has a lot of ways to stick onto them and continue to fight.
Talk to me a little bit about Biofrost and what it was like bringing him in, because we can see that obviously Haunter, you, and Sven are all playing well together, but that would be kind of expected coming from last season, but Biofrost also seems to be, fitting in very well.
Yeah, Vincent Biofrost, he's super easy to get along with, so from day one, he just fit into our team culture really well. He's really accepting to criticism, and he is just really fast at improving. We can give him a new responsibility, and in the next game, I can already hear him picking it up, communicating different things, and really, it just feels really good having such a kind of a fresh mind and someone who's so willing to learn and can improve so fast.
I mean, in that replay alone, you called out a few good mechanical moves by Biofrost there. No surprise then that he is our player of the game for this game, specifically 2, 2, and 14 on Bard, but clutch bindings, a couple great ultimates. In terms of singing his praises, we've noticed already, I mean, the likes of the Karma, the Bard, he's shown a few champions in his pool over just 4 games, but also his willingness to be aggressive with double lift. And a lot of times, the newest players in the league, we see a lot of hesitation in their play. He doesn't seem to be missing a beat as a player. Have you noticed, is that something that you guys have helped him build that mentality towards, or was that unique to him when he came in as a player already?
I think they're both really aggressive players by nature, and they're very good at getting a lead in their lane and quickly translating it through vision, and we don't see them really playing to smash the lane as much as people expect, but they're really good at translating their pressure easily through either roaming or controlling vision in the river, and I think Biofrost is doing a really great job. He our only really worry was how's he going to end up playing on stage, right? And these teams they're banning Karma, they're banning his Braum, but still he's showing up with great confidence on Bard. So I'm really happy with the pickup overall.
All right, well, that's going to close out the series for TSM. I got to congratulate you on another 2-0 victory, starting out your best of threes on in this. Ugh, let me start over on that one. My goodness, on the split 2-0 start for TSM's got to feel good. We are going to take a quick live look into the action happening over on NALCS1 in the CLG Apex Game 2. Here you go.
He was the gold card stun, and he
All
is
right.
going to be able to just allow his team to have enough time, who he thankfully does finish off.
Cut
one
out
kill
for
there
them.
to make it
You know,
even
for them,
easier.
it's going to be a lot about
Working
clawing
with
their
that
way
and
back
everything.
in. We saw some blunders by the team, especially in that end game fight of the last one, kind of stabbing at an opportunity to win here. Now down, backs against the wall here in Game 2. We'll see what they can do to make it
Yeah, this
happen.
series is crazy. If you guys missed Game 1, definitely at some point go back and check it out. It was back and forth, trading objectives, team fights, kills, and once again, it seems pretty close in the kill count. A little bit of advantage to CLG, but I expect it to be pretty scrappy if Game 1 was any indication for how this is going to go.
Bjergsen, you already got to play against this defending champions here in CLG. What is your assessment of them as they start this summer split? Because they seem to be struggling a little bit.
I think CLG is just trying to adapt to the meta, like I heard Xmithy talking about. They're trying out champions like Vlad and Fiora, Vlad is kind of a really new pick that's come up a lot in America, but really how to play around it, how to play the champion efficiently is something that a lot of teams are struggling with. And it's obvious that CLG is still sticking to this really split push heavy style this game with TF and Trundle and previously playing Fiora. So I think CLG are figuring out the meta, but still sticking to their strengths.
Yeah, of course, they do have a lead in this game, so something that we attribute to CLG traditionally is the fact that they do play smart with their goldies, that they can pretty consistently close out games in which they do have the advantage. So this will be the test here. Can they do that and extend it to a third game in this series? You know, if we run down kind of the picks and bans as it happened in this game as well, we did see that TF come in the third rotation for CLG, but that did mean that Apex had the opportunity to pick up that Kassadin in that final slot. So looking for somewhat of a counter, but it's going to be kind of curious to see how those globals interact. Obviously, who he didn't opt for the teleport on top of his global.
Yeah, the other interesting thing was they first picked Lucian instead of Kindred. And, you know, that's not necessarily the most intuitive thing, but they seem really focused on making sure that Stixxay is on something very comfortable, something that he's able to pressure a lot with, and so it looks like it's working out for them so far.
Yeah, in this, I just want to, one more question over towards you. I mean, we see champion diversity in this first week go kind of wild. We've seen the likes of, you know, Riven and Fiora in the top lane, but still those kind of mainstay tanks in the Maokais, the Echoes, the Trundles. Same thing in the mid lane. We've seen some teams high priority on the likes of Vladimir and Swain, whereas other teams, other best of threes as a whole, aren't even looking at that champion. C9 Immortals, it went
They're
untouched.
not looking at Vlad.
You guys as well, not yet looking at Vlad. So, you know, how much of this is just we need more time to figure it out, and how much of it is we actually don't, we don't necessarily have a tendency to want to play that champion?
I think it comes down to kind of which teams you're screaming. A lot of the teams that have been practicing in America have been playing a lot of this like Swain and Vlad. But we came into Korea and we didn't actually end up facing too much Swain and Vladimir, mostly the Swain top that we've seen a bit in the LCK. But for NA, I think champions like Swain and Vlad mid are coming really into favor. So when I came back and I had to practice against that, it was a really different experience. But I don't necessarily think one is either worse or better, but
I was going to ask, which meta is better? Come on, you have to pick
I
an
actually
A.
think I think a lot of teams are kind of slow on picking up the Vladimir, and I tried it a bit, and it actually feels like an extremely strong champion. So I think next week we're going to see more Vlad for sure.
You think it'll spread more around the world too, and start seeing in other regions more? Because we see it in Europe a little bit, but
for sure, it picked up in the LPL at first. She played it
Yeah.
for WE, and he just completely crushed. And then it was played a lot in EU, and I think NA is gonna. I see some teams, I believe Envy first picked it, so some teams are already catching on to it, but I think it's going to continue to go.
Still a lot to be figured out, and many more weeks of LCS play to do that. Figuring out Bjergsen one more time. I got to thank you for joining us on the desk and congratulate you on the victory today. It's time now for a brief break, but we won't be long, so stay tuned for more LCS action coming up right after this.
He's gonna come through. Lorlo throws down the Maelstrom. Whoa! Team Liquid is melting, but on the other side, The turret was hitting, and so was TSM.
Oh, Bjergsen!
Liquid able to put a few more hits back onto TSM. Bjergsen very low here, and this could be Phoenix catching up. His ghost is back up, and they're able to capitalize.
Because
whoa!
TP to come through, and oh!
Flash for flash, Dardos couldn't get the kickoff in time, but they may have Svenskeren, and a tempered fate on 3 members from Biofrost shuts down the initiation from Liquid, and now puts them down in the ground. Lorlo will be the next one. Biofrost trying to get on the other side of the minions to make sure you can make a wall stun or whatever stun is necessary.
Heads onto Phoenix again.
All summoners up again for Phoenix. He gets tempered fate over and over by Biofrost's aim. Biofrost flash forward as well as Ignite, securing all of these kills with the team.